Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking about Gen Con. This is our Gen Con recap video. I know we sent you the vlogs every day, so make sure to watch those too because they're really fun. But this is just us chatting about some stuff, going through it, kind of like, it's almost like we're detoxing from it, but with you. You get to join us.
That's right. There's so much to see, so much to do.
It makes it sound bad. It wasn't bad. It was great.
No, it was fantastic, but it was just one of those things where you can't like
decompress.
That was the word.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
There's so much to see and do. You can't really like take it all in the moment. You kind of need to like sit back and marinate on it a little bit. And so that's kind of what this has been for us. Is we took a lot of footage. We took a lot of pictures. We talked to so many people. And as we were driving home, we kind of started to talk about this stuff. But you know, even still now, a couple of days later, we've been like, you know, it was really fun, or you know, it was a really interesting time, you know. And so we just kind of wanted to put all those thoughts in one video, and so you can kind of like, you know, go along for the ride. Yeah.
So we're just gonna like talk this out. We have some points, but honestly, it's gonna be very free flowing. So bear with us.
Starting off, all right, Gen Con is all about gaming, but at the same time, one of the most visually striking things is costumes. A lot of times, they're just costumes, cosplay going on. Saturday, there's a big costume contest and parade going on. We don't generally like put a huge emphasis on that because we're usually kind of tied up in meetings or whatever the case is. But that being said, out of the costumes that you saw, did anything catch your eye or any trends that you saw or anything?
Okay, so I actually felt like there was a lot less costumes this year than in any other years I've been there. But it could be because I am not really up to date with what's contemporary. There's a phrase I'm looking for and I can't think of it. I'm just not in the know. I'm officially like an old person in that aspect. And I also don't know anything about anime. And I feel like contemporary things in anime is like the main costumes that happen. So I just didn't know. Like people could have been in cosplay and I just thought they were dressed a little different. Like, that's very, very possible. But I did want to point out our eldest is really into Alice in Wonderland. And so she there's two people that wore Mad Hatter hats. And she was, like, obsessed with them. So she kept pointing those out whenever she found them.
And we're talking, like, not just the Disney stuff, but, like the, you know,
the hat was, like, that.
Carol, like, legit book with like really surrealist stuff going on. That's what she's into now. We've created a monster. So one of the things that we see every year is this big balloon, I don't know, art going on. Yeah. And it's right by the front of the entranceway. And these balloon artists are just making these things, and that you don't always know what it is at first, but by the final day, it's this huge, expansive thing. And part of what we saw was there was these gnomes, and I think it was maybe a tie-in with the Ops Gnome Hollow.
Okay, so it totally was, because inside there was a Gnome Hollow, and they were playing Gnome Hollow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it definitely was.
Okay, so there was these gnomes that were kind of a part of this display, and I thought that was really, really cool. But then, during the costume parade, there were people inside those gnome balloons just like toddling, is that the right word? Kind of like, I don't know, it was walking. Waddling around. And it was
toddling? Is toddling a word?
That's what toddler comes from, I'm pretty sure.
Toddling.
Toddlers toddle.
That is a word.
It 100% is.
Toddlers do toddle.
And it was just seeing these gnomes in these balloon costumes, like, it was so cute and funny. There's a bunch of them in a row. And, that was my contest, or my costume, my favorite costume stuff that I saw. Yeah. And it was tied in with the balloon art.
There are, like, thousands of events that happen at Gen... Maybe there's tens of thousands. There's so many things that happen.
There's a ton.
At Gen Con. But one of my favorite... That's not true. My favorite... Not one of my favorites. My favorite event is the Orc Stomp. So it's this 5K in the national park, the
White River State Park.
Thank you. White River State Park. And it is my favorite. I absolutely love it. I just like all these nerds that get together and like care about their health, because I think that sometimes culturally those things
seem
to clash, but they really don't. They really don't.
Feeling real guilty over here. As a bigger individual.
I haven't been able to do it since 2019. That was the last time I was able to participate in the Orc Stomp. So I was very excited to be able to do it again. It's a different route than I remember, so that was fun. I just like getting up really early, and I just feel great for the rest of the day, and I really like it, getting around all these other, just geeky people that like to do this. I really enjoyed it, but I gotta say, so 2019, that was the fastest 5K I ever did. I PR'd it. I've never been a very fast runner. I enjoy it, just not fast. And I was literally like 10 minutes slower this time.
Okay, true, maybe, but even that was faster than what you had been doing.
Yes, that is true.
So,
I did go faster than I anticipated for myself.
Yeah.
So I think I was just excited. I was like, yay!
All right, so my favorite event was the Dice Tower Awards. We were asked to present an award at the Dice Tower Awards. And this is always a fantastic production put on by the Dice Tower crew every year. Tom and Eric, there's usually some musical numbers, some pre-recorded comedy bits. The presenters all have a little bit of a little comedy sketch in there. So when we were asked to present, it was like, that's so cool. It's such an honor. Also, oh, what do we do? We had a great time writing a little miniature little skit, presenting it. I don't know if you had the same experience, but like the way the light hit me, I couldn't see anybody.
No, I could not. I could see some of the tables, but not necessarily anybody at the table.
I knew that it was like the whole auditorium or the whole ball or whatever it is was just chock full of people, and I was just so glad that I couldn't see them. It was just a big bright light in my face, and just... okay, it's just me and the light. I'm just talking to the light. Yeah,
so I actually ended up getting a blister because of that. Do you remember that?
No.
I wore, okay, so we were close enough to where we could walk to the convention center. So I went back to change because it's an awards show. You need to get fancy. So I went back to change, and I was going to pack like my dress shoes in the bag and wear my tennis shoes there. But I just didn't want to pack extra stuff. So I'm like, I'm just going to wear my dress shoes. And so I walked 3 city blocks in my dress shoes.
These are like big city blocks. They're like normal city blocks.
So I ended up getting like a blister. And I've worn these shoes many, many times, but I think I was just like, I don't know. I was in pain. I was actually in a lot of pain during that. It's fine. Everything's fine. Beauty is pain.
Weird. But yeah, it was such a fun time kind of being backstage, getting to watch everything and watch all the performers kind of, how it's all organized, seeing all this, the monitors, everybody controlling the monitors and the audio and all that from the background. So much goes into that we don't get to see from when we're in the audience.
Yeah.
But it was great to be a part of that. I hope we get to do it again sometime. Super, super fun.
It was super fun in the back because the awards would go and Ryan's like, this person's going to win. And he was only wrong once.
Yeah, I had my finger on the pulse of the awards ceremony pretty well. I definitely knew the 2-player game was going to be Sky Team. I was like, Sky Team is fantastic.
It is.
All right, so speaking of new releases and things like that, tons and tons and tons of games either get released at Gen Con or right before Gen Con. It's like the first time they're available commercially, or maybe they get announced at Gen Con. It's just, whether you can play them or demo them or buy them or whatever the case is, it's a big thing for new releases. Did any new releases catch your eye? Whether they were demos all the way up to available to buy.
Okay, so yes, and this is something that actually surprises me. You're going to be shocked. You're going to be like, really? This is the one? It is Sherlock Solitaire.
Oh, we got shown that by Derek at Wise Wizard.
Yeah, so it's a solitaire.
That's your pick?
I know.
It's just a small box. Like it sounds really fun. Like don't get me wrong, it sounds really fun.
I really
but just
like Sherlock.
It's so like incognito.
Yeah, I know, and I think it's just because I've started getting into solo gaming, and it's literally solitaire, but there's different ways. Solitaire Plus is basically how I'm going to describe it, and I'm really intrigued. It wasn't even the game I was thinking about when we were having our meeting with them. It was a different game that everybody was excited about, but I saw that and I was just so intrigued by it. It didn't even come on my radar. I wasn't even thinking about it until we got there. So I know I know you're shocked by that because there's so many. I'm really looking forward to a lot of the reviews that we're going to be giving you. I am so excited about a lot of these games, but for some reason that one just stuck with me. And then of course, Riverly Glassworks, because that's by my Three Sisters team. I need to meet those people in real life and fangirl about it.
I know that one of them commented on one of our posts, and I was like, ooh, Matt Riddle saw our post about the game.
You should comment on this post so I can fangirl about it. You're not watching this.
So obviously Gnome Hollow was a big hit. Like we mentioned, the balloons,
Yes,
the ops
yeah.
booth was all done up in Gnome Hollow stuff, and the game just looks super fun. So we haven't actually had a chance to play it yet, but we do have a review forthcoming. So for me, 2 games that caught my eye. Civolution. This is the new upcoming Stefan Feld game.
Oh, yes.
It is being described as the heaviest Feld game yet, which, I mean, if that's not your thing, that's fine. I totally get it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, I'm excited. Let me tell you something. There was a wonderful German woman saw me standing outside of the Pegasus Spiel booth because I was waiting for a pitch meeting that I had. I was pitching one of my game designs to them. So I was a little early. I was kind of waiting by the side, and she came up to me and said, were you waiting in line to hear about Civolution? And I said, oh no, I'm here for a pitch meeting. Did you want to hear about Civolution? And I was like, yes, absolutely I do. She goes on to explain it in great detail, very succinctly, which is very hard to do when you have so many different moving bits and things. I'm looking at her badge. She has no exhibitor badge. She has nothing. She's just a fan. She doesn't work for Pegasus. She's like, oh, yes, I know Mr. Feld. He's a great friend, and I've had a chance to play test this early on in the process, and I'm just so excited about it. I just wanted to tell everyone that I see about this game. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're just a fan. Like, you did a better job teaching this than probably, like, a regular booth employee would have.
Yeah.
I'm just, like blown away by how much she was able to show, but also just the game itself, just like, it's just going to be bananas. I'm so excited. Civolution.
Yeah.
All right, so on the very opposite end of the spectrum would be Boop the Halls. We love Christmas-themed games.
We do.
I don't know, for whatever reason, just anytime holiday, kind of, it's a spooky game around Halloween, or like a fireworks game in July, or whatever it is, I love, like, themed games like that, holiday-themed games. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be a Valentine's Day where we don't play Love Letter with the kids or something, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
Boop the Halls is the Christmas-themed version of Boop. It's got 2 ways to win. There's now kind of an additional way that you can win. It's got this 3-dimensional, like, Christmas tree tower. And it's adorable on top of that. And it's a thinkier version, you know? If it looks so adorable, you might be tempted to be like, oh, it's super simple. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
No. Start with Boop, and then you can go to Boop, and then you can go to Boop the Halls, because they kind of progress in terms of complexity. So looking forward to that one, too. Add it to our Christmas collection shelf.
Okay, so let's take a detour away from Gen Con and talk about what are some experiences we had that happened in Indianapolis, but not necessarily at Gen Con.
I've got a couple.
Okay.
All right, so there was, outside of our hotel, there's the Monument Circle. There's a Monument Circle in the center of the downtown. And there's this huge obelisk in the middle of the town with a big, gorgeous fountain. And all the hotels and things around there are kind of circled around this in this really nice way. It's a slow little thing. A couple things happened. First of all, we show up to our hotel, and we hear this. We look outside. There's like this little park thing. We're like, what is this? What is this park? They kind of closed off half of the park, or half of the roundabout, and made it into this pop-up park called Spark, I think is what they were calling it. And it was incredible.
It was.
There
was
was
so cool.
Cool activities for our daughters. There were kind of these big outdoor, like, building block things. There were a couple of little food vendors. There was
Ping pong. Jenga, like giant Jenga.
There's ping pong chess laid out.
Yeah.
There was a whole little, like, trailer that was being manned with someone who was checking out board games.
Yeah, there's a board game store locally called Good Games, and they were the sponsors of it.
Yeah, so you could just go and, like, check out a game and play with your friends and family, and then return it when you're done to this managed trailer. It's such a cool thing to see. I just loved that.
Except for that poor guy who was getting harassed. There's this guy. Oh my gosh.
It's a whole other story.
Oh my gosh.
The employee there deserves a gold star for how patient he was with everyone that he had to deal with.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But yeah, we spent several evenings there, like, just having fun with friends. We invited friends to come join us because our hotel's kind of in the middle there. And then just anytime the girls needed to spend some time on them when we were outside the convention. Yeah. Let's go to the park. You know, it was fantastic. But when we're sitting out there one of the days, or it was the first night, we're just sitting around having a great time, and then we just hear. Do you remember what it said?
It was something. The show will be starting in 10 minutes. We're like,
what's the show?
What's the show?
What's the show? As it was, there's a big bizarre combination of music going on the whole night
Yes,
through loudspeakers. Yeah. But then eventually, this huge laser light show across every single building in the entire of that monument circle was lit up with this big patriotic display. It started at, I want to say, what was 9:50? It was at dusk, they called it, but I think it was like 9:50.
Yeah, something like that.
And this huge big display on the monument itself and on all the surrounding buildings, this big laser light show thing. It was super impressive.
It was super cool. It did go late into the night, and our hotel was in there, so we had like this Technicolor hotel room.
Yeah, it's red, white, and blue just blaring through our windows all night long. So it like blended together to pink purple.
Yeah, so we just had like this purple room. It was very weird.
It was so cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I was happy that we got to experience that. It was a really, really, really neat thing.
All right. Another thing was we love like mocktails. It's like we're dry, so we love a good mocktail. Going to like a fun place, and we heard this was like a secret like speakeasy that had like a mocktail menu, and we were going to go there with our friends, and we were really excited about it.
Heck yeah!
But one of the publishers or one of the companies had rented it out for the evening. It
wasn't one of the companies. It was eBay. eBay took that away from us.
So eBay bought it out for the night, which is fine. They had their little party or whatever it is there. And I know that other restaurants in the area were kind of doing that kind of thing as well. But they bought it out for the night. And we're like, oh, what are we going to do now? So we had to walk somewhere else.
Yeah. And we ended up walking to this underground cigar lounge. It was one of the coolest experiences I ever had. We didn't take any photos or pictures of it because we didn't think it was like...
It's the wrong time and place.
Yeah, that's just not what it was for. But it was so cool. There was a cover charge to get in.
We felt like cool just doing that. Just like, oh, yeah, this is exclusive.
And it had these like huge, luxurious couches that you just like sank into. And I don't smoke or drink, but it was like it was so cool. We're definitely going to go back there. I'm just going to bring a book next time. So y'all can like have your drinks and your cigars. I'm going to read a book in this hazy gaze. And the windows were like darkened. Do you remember that?
It felt like a speakeasy. Even more from friends who had been to both. This one felt more like a speakeasy than the actual speakeasy.
Oh my gosh. I loved it.
And there was not a mocktail menu, but we kind of just asked them if they could hook us up with something, and they made us some really fun mocktails. It was a blast.
It was a really good time. Good time, good people, good conversation. It was
super
great.
On brand. Dave Beck from Paperson Games. He's also the designer and publisher of Distilled, which is a game about making spirits. We ran into him there, and it was like so fun. Like, it's such so on brand to him that we would run into him at a crazy underground cigar bar.
Heck yeah.
But that was a super highlight for both of us.
Yeah. Another really cool thing that happened was, so in the dealer hall, there's like, a ton of people, all this stuff, but the ops booth, they built a second story. So when people had meetings, or when people were doing pitch meetings or press meetings or whatever, you went up to the second story. And another thing that was cool was they were kind of off and like they were like the first row, right?
Yeah.
So you could look out and see it all. It was like Lion King style, right? You just saw the whole thing. It was so cool to be able to be up there and just see all of the dealer hall. Gosh, it was cool.
And what a great way to, give yourself more space, because they had stores below it, they had space above it, and you kind of give yourself a little bit of exclusivity too, like, ooh, we're the only ones that have a second floor. And then when you're up there, you feel like you're royalty too.
Oh, yeah.
So in addition to the view itself, it felt like, oh, they really value us or whatever, which I feel like they do. That's one of our favorite meetings.
They're really great, especially with small-time reviewers.
Which is us. We're the low. No, what a cool view. What a cool experience. All right, so the next thing...
How many people do you think are going to have that next year?
I bet
do you think they started something?
I bet there's going to be like someone with a 3-story. Like, well, we're not going to be beat by the op. We're going to build a 3-story.
I wonder if insurance wouldn't cover that.
They're like up in the rafters or something.
Like, no,
we're going to descend down from the
they
ceiling.
They would slide in that you can have. Yes.
All right, so I guess the next thing we want to talk about is just Gen Con as a whole. Kind of do like a little bit of a pulse check and just we've been to a lot of different Gen Cons now.
Yeah.
Starting back in, my first one was 2013. And so outside of the pandemic, I think I haven't missed any.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So you haven't been to all the same ones I have, but even to the majority of them that I've been to. And so just over the past few years, all the ones we've been to, what stood out about this particular Gen Con?
Is this my 8th Gen Con?
Yeah,
No.
that sounds about right. You're an old timer.
Wow, that's crazy. So many things stood out to me. One is that I saw a lot of families. I saw a lot of kids. Now, I've seen babies in the past because babies are kind of easy, right? Because you can just wear them and you're totally fine. They don't require that much because they're with you. And it's the small children who like to see and touch everything that are, can be a bit more challenging. But I saw a lot of children, and not just on Sunday. I'm talking about throughout the entire convention. I saw a lot of children and I saw a lot of family. And in the Motley Kids area, it was like the busiest I've ever seen it. It was awesome. I remember one time we were in there and we couldn't talk like this to each other. We actually had to speak up to talk to each other because there was just so much noise happening in the best way possible. So not only was it the biggest Gen Con ever, at least that's what they're reporting right now, 100,000.
Yeah, I don't get the numbers. I thought it was 75,000 that last year, but this year's record breaking is 71,000.
Yes.
The numbers don't make sense to me, but it did definitely feel like...
Definitely felt it. And part of that is because I think people are actually just almost using it as a family vacation. This is what you're doing.
Yeah, and so the Thursday, the first full day of Gen Con, was usually a slower day in the past, it felt like. This Thursday, it was like it was a Saturday. It was the full bore, wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder, crazy experience. People were rushing for games. People were selling out of stuff. Yeah. I mean, commerce was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, from all the different booths that we talked to, almost all of them had games that were selling out. They had an airlift in more just so that they'd have enough stuff to make it through Saturday and Sunday because it was just flying off the shelves, which is fantastic to hear. Gaming is alive and well. Commerce is alive and well. Shoot, we'll prop up the whole U.S. industry with just gaming. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh.
Because people were just in the shopping mood because there's so much great games.
Oh my gosh, yes, there are so many great... I'm so excited. I really am excited about our review pile right now.
Yeah.
I'm really
We've got some fun stuff that we're going to be talking about. And it's just so cool to see that. And yeah, this definitely felt like... I know they're saying it's record-breaking. Yeah. Again, the numbers don't make any sense to me. But the crowd, the buzz, the energy, that definitely was record-breaking in my opinion.
Yeah. And Gen Con's so weird, I've discovered, because there's so many different Gen Cons that are happening all at the same time. So, Brian and I are meeting with publishers and doing stuff like that. Ryan also had pitch meetings, so he's pitching his game. And we also had friends that were pitching their games when they're there. And there's people, like Ryan said, just, buying stuff, going through all the aisles, buying stuff. There's people there that are just literally painting minis the whole time. There's people that are playing minis the whole time. There's people doing all these different one-shots, games that, RPGs they wouldn't be able to play at home. So they're just sitting for, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours just playing these one-shot games. And it's when somebody says they went to Gen Con, I don't even know what that means anymore because there's just so many worlds, parallel universes that are all happening simultaneously, all in this one place. But there's so many different Gen Cons that happened, and I am absolutely blown away with the Gen Con team. They are amazing. Seriously, when you think about how many different hotels and the convention center and everything that's involved, all different activities, the fact that you can get all of gaming culture or all the tabletop culture just completely invested. We even had somebody who was a little mobilely challenged, and so he just went to the film fest because that's also happening at Gen Con. That's what I'm talking about. There's just so many different Gen Cons happening at Gen Con.
Absolutely. I mean, you could spend 20 years going to Gen Con and find new stuff every time.
Yeah.
I know people who just went for the variety of the food of the food trucks and stuff, and they might play a game or two. It's just...
You can go to Gen Con and have FOMO about Gen Con.
Yeah, absolutely. Even still, I had one of my friends texting me, "Are you heading over to this party?" I'm like, my feet hurt. I can't. or we booked some other thing at the same exact time or whatever the case was. just so much to do, so much fun. But also, I think for us, we've been slowly kind of building these relationships within the industry, and that's been really fun to see. People that, okay, I saw you at PAX, I saw you at, Gamma Expo, I saw you at our local convention here in town, and I got to meet up with you again. Whatever the case is, kind of building these relationships over time, both with people inside the industry, and then just with people like you guys watching. We really appreciate that, and just would love running into you guys at the events.
Okay, so not only do we love running into you, but it's kind of like the fuel to our fire. Sometimes we're talking, right? It's just us. We don't have a crowd here. We don't know how people are responding.
Is no one back there behind the camera?
No, there's no child there right now. So sometimes there is, and they do dances, and we're trying to concentrate. So when you see us out and about, and you stop us and you talk to us, it means the world to us. You have absolutely no idea. It means everything to us, because it means that we're actually creating something that's beneficial, that's useful, that's entertaining, that you're getting value out of. We're not just sitting here talking to a camera. We're sitting here bringing you something that you're getting value out of. So we appreciate it so much for everybody who stopped by and interrupted us, because it's really not an interruption for us. It means the world.
Yeah, I think that we love it, and so thank you all. It was very humbling and exciting.
Yeah, and I felt a lot more comfortable at this Gen Con, because Ryan's been able to do the industry side of things for a couple of years now. I just haven't been able to because of PTO, but I was able to go to a few things, and I feel like I'm finally developing relationships with people. So Ryan's he introduced me to so many people over the past year.
And I'm terrible at it, too. I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? And they're like, are you going to, are you going to introduce me to Bethany?
Yeah.
I'm like,
well,
she's here too.
I introduce myself to a lot of people when those situations happen. I'm like, but the thing is, there's two things. One, if people watch our content, they're already familiar with me. I'm just not familiar with them. So there's a thing going on there sometimes. And then also, you're already familiar with them. So you don't think I'm unfamiliar with them.
Because we're like a package deal in my head.
Yes, exactly. So Ryan's introducing me to all these people, but finally this year I actually remembered some people, and I had relationships with some people. I wasn't meeting new people for the first time, and so that's why it was a lot more comfortable for me. So this is something that if you met me recently, you probably don't know, but if you've known me from my past, in my late teens and early 20s, people who met me automatically assumed I didn't like them. I had that happen all the time.
That's what I always thought.
Oh my gosh, that's not even close to being true. Not even close. You were like, she likes me, this works. But so when I meet people for the first time, because I know that that's how I used to present, I am very intentional about trying to not present that way. And so it's not that it's stressful meeting people for the first time. It's actually just work for me. It's work for me to meet people for the first time. And this Gen Con, I wasn't. Obviously, there's still some people I was meeting for the first time. But at this Gen Con, I'd already met some people. So that groundwork was already there, and I was able to just be with people. I was able to build on top of relationships instead of start relationships. So that was a really fun and unique experience for me that Ryan has already experienced. This is something I'm now finally getting to experience.
Yeah, and in fact, there were so much more people I would have loved to have ran into, met, had meetings with, things like that. But like I said, there's just so many different Gen Cons going on. There's not enough time. It's 4 days. How can you do it all in 4 days? All right, but there's a few people that we have had an amazing time with that we wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Blake and Adam are some friends of ours. If you're watching, we wanted to let you know spending time with you was highlight level stuff. Oh my gosh, so much fun just talking and being relaxed in the midst of chaos, or everything around us was chaos, and just stopping for a moment, just being like, these are our people.
We have Adam to thank for that cigar lounge too.
Yeah, he was like, let's go to this thing, and we're like,
sure,
lead the way. we're in.
Yeah, so that was really fun. And we also want to give a shout out to our roomies, It was really fun. So we were in with my brother Matt and Justin, and it was almost like a sleepover because we're all getting in there and we're all just kind of hyped up and tired at the same time.
And we all had different Gen Cons, like you mentioned.
Yes, yeah, it's true. It's true. We all had different Gen
So
Cons.
super late at night. We're all like conked out. Lights are off.
Well, kind of. Our lights are off, but a room is glowing purple.
True.
And so amongst the purple, we're just like, seriously, I felt like a child at a sleepover because you're just talking about all this stuff. You know, mom and dad are going to come down and tell you to go to sleep, but you just can't help it.
It's like, oh, what events did you go to? Oh, that sounds awesome. Oh, what did you do? Oh,
Yeah.
I ran into this person. Oh, that's so cool. You know, and what are you doing tomorrow?
Yes, they were great roommates, and it was fun to just kind of, I don't know, experience other people's Gen Cons all in one setting.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully you guys watch some of our vlogs and about Gen Con, and I've been watching other people's vlogs and Gen Con hauls and all that kind of stuff. I just love seeing it all and just living vicariously through you guys. Hopefully you're doing the same through us. It's just so much fun. Gen Con is quite the thing.
Yeah.
It's quite the thing.
Yeah.
Next year, I think because of PTO, it might just be me. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But
it will be just. I've already done the math. It will be just Ryan.
But in a couple of years, we'll be back in action. Brian and Bethany, duo of the ages.
Yes, but in a month we're going to another convention, so we'll give you like mini vlogs of all the games and stuff that we play there as well.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for watching. Put in the comments down below what was your favorite stuff. If you ran into us, put us down in the comments. We'd love to hear more about that, and we can follow you as well. Yeah, we're out of things to say, but
we had a great time. We hope you had a great time.
Subscribe.
Doing
all
all
that
that stuff. Okay,
Bye.
bye.
You guys, thanks for watching our shenanigans. As always, we appreciate it. Over here, if you follow this link, you're going to find a playlist we've handcrafted just for you because you watched this video.
And if you check over here, this is a video that YouTube thinks you might like. So you can check that out if you want as well.
All right, we appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.